everyone, and welcome to Apex Trades. This is going to be a introduction to who we are, what we do, how we trade, and kind of getting an understanding on the complexities of essentially what we do within the server. I've developed kind of my own style and method of trading, which has been, it's fair to say, quite successful. It's based on a DCA method, which is to say, what we're not going to do is just put a trade entry in and win, lose or draw. We see how that price respects a specific area. We DCA our levels, and I want to dive straight into it and then talk a bit about how we actually execute these orders within ByBit, which is the platform that I use. So let's say right now I want to long, let's say for whatever reason. I'm not going to go into the details of why I think the market might go one way or the other. I just want to give an example. Let's just say I want a long right now, right? So I'll say, okay, I need an area of value. Yeah, I don't just want to dive in with a long now, because what most traders will do is they'll see a breakout occur and straight away, okay, time to buy, time to buy, time to buy, time to buy, and then that happens. And then if you've put in your stop loss here, which a lot of people do, or maybe here if you're a little bit more adventurous, or and then maybe your liquidation levels here if you've gone stupid with leverage. Well, that's what's wrong with 90% of the people who trade. Yeah, sometimes you might get that big winner that just goes crazy because a news story just broke out. But if you're just trading TA, generally you're going to get wrecked. So how do we do it differently in my server? So let's say I want to have value. Yeah, I want to say, okay, well, firstly, I think this is an area of value, argument's sake, right? And then it's a case of saying, well, okay, well, where else? What happens if the price goes beyond that? Okay, well, my next area of value might be here. Just purely example. I've not done any TA. I've just literally, putting in some areas. What we do obviously is we apply a lot of TA, looking at things like money flow index, looking at overbought and oversold positions, looking at the visible range volume profile, so understanding where the lines of consolidation lie. Maybe we're using Elliott waves, which you can see a perfect Elliott wave playing out here, and then Fibonacci retracements for things like potential take profit zones and so on and so forth. So the point I'm trying to make is, what I'm looking to do is get an average entry rather than specify one specific key level and hope that that's the level that it bounces off and we get filled and then we're to the moon. No, it's not. For me, it's not really the way to go. So let's say this is my first entry. So it's a long, because we're going counter trend. Long DCA, position 1. Long DCA, position 2. And then long DCA, position 3. Okay, so let's say I've got 3 positions, and let's say I say, okay, right, everything compounds, which means your account can grow quite quickly using this method, because it's based on position size. So let's say I start with $1,000. That's my account size, right? So I'll say, okay, first position, 10%, 10x leverage. Yeah. Second position, 10% of your portfolio, 10x leverage. Third position, 10% of your portfolio with 10x leverage. So if all 3 of these positions get filled, that's 30% of my portfolio filled in those 3 positions. But if, depending on which way the market is going, realistically, for whatever reason, my bias is that it's going to go long, as an example. So I'm open for some sort of a quick, a quick scam wick, or some sort of a quick move to the downside, maybe, coming off the tail end of being oversold before we get, a price reversal. So realistically, what I'm hoping is that we get this idea where we get this level filled. That would be fill number 1. Continue down, fill number 2, and then come down to get fill number 3. Now, what this actually does is it gives you an average order entry. So let's say this first fill gets filled in at 16,404, and then my second one gets filled in at 16,289, well, my average is going to be here. This would be my average area of my trade. So once we get to this level, for me to be in profit would be when I basically pass this area here. So that's the whole idea around DCA in terms of your positions. So rather than just putting a 30% position here, which starts to get riskier as you go down, depending on how far down the market goes, by DCAing, you're effectively averaging your orders. So, and you get essentially getting a much better average entry, and equally you're going to get a better liquidation level, much further down than maybe just using your 30% here as an example. So that's the basis of how it works and what we're looking to do. Obviously, the understanding of how we trade, the reasons we pick specific levels, and not just kind of using the the convention of some sort of a grid bot where it's like every 100 basis points, put an order. I just don't think there's any intelligence applied on bots, which is why, for me, I just think this is a much better way to do it. So taking those, how do we now look at entering them? Well, I use ByBit. So ByBit gives me all the features that I need in order to be able to trade like this. So if I hop over to ByBit real quick, you can see on ByBit as an example, so the orders were, so the first position would have been 16,404, 16,404, so let me just head back to here. So I would say position number one, 16,404. Now let's say I need to know I'm using 10% and 10x leverage. So right now, it's on 25, but I would change that there. Always use cross. So cross allows us to aggregate the margin and the liquidation levels as a combined aggregate rather than isolated. If you use isolated, it effectively treats each DCA position as its own individual order, and each level will have its own liquidation level, which for me, I want to average those out across all of my orders. So I want to know, so 100%. So I've got 4.343 Bitcoin at whatever the leverage is. So I would say, well, 10% of that will be 0.34. Okay, so I'd say 0.34, and that would be my first order. It's a long, so I would click buy long, and then that would go in my active orders here as a long. Then move back over to my trading view platform. Second one is 16,288. Head back to ByBit. Next one, I'll just say 16,288. Again, it's another 10%. I'm using equal portions of my account size, remember? So I'll just put in 0.34 again. Click on buy. It would then go into the bottom section here, and you can see this is my current order position right now. I've got a live trade open, which is why I've still got additional DCA levels here below. Obviously, it only tagged our first one or second one. I think we had 4 DCA positions and it tagged just one position, but obviously we're in profit at the moment, which is great. In terms of then saying, okay, well, how do we then take profit? So just before I jump into this, I am going to just talk a little bit about my server. So within Apex Trades, I will put out just predictions, right? They are not financial advice. They are not steadfast, you must copy to make money. They are just how I trade. So what I do, using my own kind of experience as trading for say 4 or 5 years, is just what I think is going to happen. And what we'll do is we'll say I'll put out what I think will be a potential DCA session. So it would be 10%. In this case, it was a 25x leverage at 16,523. 10%, 25x leverage at 16,510, and then 10% with 25x leverage at 16,480. So this is a long, which is why the numbers are going down, which is to say that we want to get each of these positions filled, and then what the take profit zone is. So the take profit on this one is at 16,684. So to set your take profit, go back into ByBit, sorry. You just head to your active orders. You click into positions rather. So we're about $56 on this one right now. So you go hit close buy. I want to close by a limit order. You'll say 16 684, and then you'll say, well, how much of that position do you want to close? So if we're setting multiple take profit zones, like we might say take profit zone 1 is at 16,684 and take 50%. Take profit zone 2 is at 16,800, and then that would be the remaining 100. That would be the remaining balance as an example. So you can set whatever target you want your position closed at, and then you just fit and forget, and then that's kind of it. That's principally how it's done based on that. So you just server's going a bit bananas at the moment. But in the server, obviously we have there's the free member section. So free member section just allows just general chat and we talk about stuff, but then we have a subscriber section. It costs $10 a month. In all honesty, I think, well, let me just show you the results. So the results are every time. So if I go into the live, my predictions as an example, I'll take this and I'll copy it and then convert it into a live trade result. Sorry, a trade result. So you'll only ever see one current live. But what we'll do is we'll say, okay, this one particularly was a position size short down. We only got one of these DCA positions filled. We took a take profit of 75% of 21k, and it was a $136 win. It was a 26% move. There's the proof that was in KuCoin. I started on KuCoin first before I moved over to ByBit. Then second one was a short. Again, only one of the DCA positions filled. That was $318 move. Using 20% 20x leverage. Third position was $111. Again, 10% of 25x leverage. We only got one position fill there, so it was much smaller of a win. These are all just the proofs. You can see these if you come into the server. Next position, $102. Got two positions filled. This was a decent one. This was a long. We had all six positions filled. That was $641, 64% move, and then so on and so forth. So each one of these, I mean, we've just got, I think there's 16 straight wins. I don't anticipate having any losses, frankly. That's because realistically, the exercise of the DCA method and understanding position size and risk level and the key levels at which you're going to DCA at is the importance, rather than using stop losses and stopping out at every two seconds when your trades are just too precise. So these go on. I mean, we just keep on churning out these results. I've just started going to a bit more of a fancy looking trade results just to kind of sprinkle a little bit of dust on it. But yeah, so that's, I'd say $10 a month will get you access to the alpha section, which is the patrons chat, and this is where all of the paid members kind of come involved. I'll do one-to-one sessions. We'll do a 30-minute session one-to-one in the live sessions channel. You can ask me anything live, whatever you need, and I'll respond. And then we have the sections where we add data based on upcoming information and what we think. We also post the news section, so what's coming up in the week ahead, which is here, just going over the key topics of whether it's CPI, whether it's FOMC meetings, whatever it would be, and making sure that everyone's aware of the kind of reaction that might occur during the week ahead. So I think that's pretty much it. I mean, the server is pretty much 24/7. We've got people from all over the globe, from Asia, America, UK, Europe. So there's always someone about who's understands the system. But as I say, I just want to give an overview to explain the method, how it works, how it's been so successful over the past kind of few months, and hopefully as it continues, we build out the server, and we bring you guys along for the ride. So that being said, I think I'll close it there, and link for Discord is in the description. I've also added my ByBit account if you guys want to jump on that. Feel free. I think there's some sort of rewards. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but if you want to copy me and you want to use ByBit gives us all the features that I need, and that's kind of where we go from that. So that being said, I'm going to end this one here and say thank you for listening, and I will see you guys in the next one.